we are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. Today is June 30th, 2026. I believe it's the last day of June. As far as an update, just been working. Took a couple days off. Relaxing because I was grinding so hard there. It has been hot as fuck here in Kentucky, man. Yeah, like past 2 days have been in the 80s, like fucking muggy as hell. And I'm talking like I work third shift. Past 2 days, man, like I'm literally turning on Sammy's car. Because my car, we're still working on the insurance. Sammy's got to do it. Because she's wanting to put it under her insurance so it's cheaper. But yeah, dude, past like several breaks at work, dude, I've been like going on break at work and it's like 80 degrees at like 3 o'clock in the morning and shit, and like muggy as fuck. Yesterday I think we had like a strawberry moon. I don't know. Crazy shit. So it's super hot here in Kentucky. And I was watching a video here on YouTube, and I guess France is like record highs right now with heat, like in the 90s and 100s and shit, which is fucking crazy. So as far as updates, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate to the channel, I will send you a bumper sticker, Conspiracy Corner bumper sticker. These things are durable as fuck. I had one on my old car. It had been snowed on, rained on, sunshined on, you know. All sorts of weather, and it held up. Sammy has one on a coffee mug, and that thing's been washed 1,000 times, and it held up. And you will also get a Conspiracy Corner bookmark. I will sign the back. Unless you don't want me to, you can message through Buy Me a Coffee, and I won't. So, I was listening to, this is a little bit of older news. It was last month, but I didn't find out about it until literally the other day. Let me do an update on Blue Pill Podcast real quick. So I have some plans for some future gaming stuff. I ordered today. It was only like $15. So last year I had pretty much gone through every Zelda available for the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy, original Game Boy. The only ones that I had not played yet was, I have not played the second quest for Zelda 1. I did beat the first quest. So I'm thinking about playing the second quest for Zelda 1, beating it and reviewing it. I want to do a video on a game called Solomon's Club, which is kind of a Zelda, not really a Zelda clone. It's got elements of Zelda, but it's kind of like, I know it sounds weird, but they were kind of ripping off Zelda. And today I ordered Game & Watch Gallery 4. So for years I had been chasing down there's a Zelda Game and Watch, and it's literally just called Zelda Game and Watch. But like, I've seen it literally from like $200-$300 to even as much as like $700, and I'm like, damn, I really want to play this game. And I was researching it, and people were like, oh, it's on Game and Watch Gallery 4 for Game Boy Advanced. You just have to like play the actual game, unlock enough points and stars or whatever to unlock the Zelda Game & Watch on that cartridge. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, how much does Gallery 4 cost? And I looked it up. It wasn't too much. It was $15 free shipping. And I'll get it by the 3rd of next month, July 3rd. So that'll be cool. What else was I going to say? Oh, and I do want to eventually get a copy of the original Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the Gray Cart. I beat DX last year and reviewed it. I honestly, I've never played the original Game Boy one without all the extra stuff. Because DX has like a color dungeon that they added to the game. A bunch of all this extra feature stuff. And I think they even added some like cutscenes and stuff. I don't know. So I want to play the original, and I might review it too. So it'll be like 3 different Zelda reviews that I got planned for this year. Here I thought I'd be done reviewing the Zeldas for Game Boy and stuff, but there is like some extra content I can do. So look forward to that. Let's get on with Conspiracy Corner, though. I just wanted to give you guys a Blue Pill podcast update. So, this is something that we've discussed multiple times. I actually did a shorter video. So, when I first started experimenting with podcasts, what I was doing honestly super short, like mini podcast. I've done several, and I plan on like collaging them together, making like possibly a compilation of like the smaller mini pods that I have done. We did one on the Eye of Horus, the third eye. You can find it on the channel. You'll have to, go to the search bar and stuff. I'm not sure what it's under. So we had discussed the third eye in general throughout the years. And you guys know me, like, I'm an occultist, and we've just discussed in general in passing, like, the third eye. So it always blows my mind when science proves something that literally our community has been talking about for years. So apparently scientists have discovered the third eye and proven it. And let's just get into the scientific version and this scientific revelation of scientists discovering the third eye. So scientists reveal where the human original third eye came from and why we have it. The third eye is not just a metaphysical yoga concept. Scientists have discovered the origins of the peculiar median cornea buried deep inside your head. Our earliest ancestor from almost 600 million years ago. This tricornea theory was detailed in an eye-opening study published in the journal Current Biology. I thought we don't believe in biology anymore, remember? No one knows what a woman is anymore. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. The team had set out to shed light on the pineal gland, which is what we discussed, the Eye of Horus, in that previous video that I'd mentioned. By the way, let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see some of those mini podcasts compiled together. Because I'd covered some decent stuff. It's just, it wasn't hitting the 30-minute mark. It was when I first started experimenting with podcasting, before I, like, officially created Conspiracy Corner podcast. My old channel was just literally called just Abe Williams. And we just covered small conspiracy, literally like 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos, you know, simple shit. I didn't really have the umph in me to do full podcast episodes, and finally one day I just said I'm going to do it. But it's the pineal gland, the pine cone. There's a lot of symbology within the pine cone. You see it within the Vatican, the ancient Sumerian text where the gods are holding pine cones. A lot of people believe in the New Wave movement and stuff, or New Age movement and stuff, and occultism in general. They think that a lot of the pine cone symbology within the Vatican and within the Sumerian text with the Anunnaki and stuff, they think that they're referring possibly to the third eye, the pineal gland. Pine cone, pineal gland. And it's the Eye of Horus in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. So the pineal gland, a pea-sized organ inside the human skull that dictates how our body responds to light in the dark, even though it's long been cut off from sunlight. So it's almost like it's an eye. And I believe, too, that it secretes like melatonin, serotonin. I could be wrong, though. So found in nearly all vertebrates, from cats to frogs and humans, this tertiary light receptor produces melatonin, so I was right, the hormone that controls sleep and wakefulness. This is why I struggle with melatonin. Speak of the devil. I take it because I struggle with sleep. I'm either awake for too many hours or asleep for too many hours. There's no in between with me. I need to figure something out with it. It kind of sucks. But it's literally like, this is why I lock myself in a dark room when I need to go to bed. Like, cause I know, like, if I don't, I will literally be up for hours. Like, I have to wear sleeping masks, take melatonin, like, cut off all sunlight. Yeah, it fucking sucks. But a lot of people will ask the question, well, how did these, like, ancient Egyptians know about the third eye and the pineal gland? Well, they talk about it in Egyptology of, like, they had hook devices that they would take out the brain, scoop out the brain, and literally look at the brain. You know, a lot of these hieroglyphs of, like, why the Eye of Horus looks just like the pineal gland, it's because they were literally cutting people's heads open and looking at the brain. I mean, I know it's dark, I know it's fucked up, but they were doing sciences back then. While documented by doctors since the ancient times, the origins of the mind's eye were unclear until now. No, not really. I just explained it. At least partially. Study author Professor Tom Baden, a neuroscientist at the University of Sussex and co-author, said that they wanted to find out the original solution to vision, as well as the extent to which different species just copied or modified it to make it their own. What really are the patterns, he wondered. Per the BBC's Science Focus magazine, as you do this over time, you start to wonder, what is the original eye? To glean insight into the evolution of our optic organ, the team looked back to one of our earliest ancestors, a small sea-dwelling maggot from 575 million years ago. So here is this, our maggoty ancestor had 3 eyes, 2 for navigation and 1 for detecting changing light levels. Okay. So here's the diagram of this creature. You can screenshot it or whatever. We're getting into territory which I don't completely agree with. So this scientist Who did they say his name was? We just said it. Professor Thomas Baden of University of Sussex, co-author of this article. So here's the thing. I believe in small term evolution. I do not believe that like we came from fish we came from swamp scum that turned into a fish that then turned into a lizard that then turned into a monkey, and then the monkey turned. I don't believe in all that. I believe in small term evolution. So like for example, the Irish. They say like in ancient times the Irish would have looked more like Italians. Like brown eyes, brown skin, brown hair. And because they lived in Ireland and Scotland and England, like the Scots, the Celts, the Gaels, the Welsh, the Picts, because they all lived in like that area where there was like lack of sunlight, lots of rain, lots of storms, just a dark, gloomy place, that naturally they became more pale skin, blue eyes, red hair. I do believe in like small term evolution, you know, but I don't believe in mainstream evolution as far as like Darwinism and shit. You know, and the evidence they show us is like, oh, Lucy's skeleton, the missing link. We discovered the missing link. This proves evolution. And it's like, have you ever seen Lucy? Like, just Google image Lucy, or go to the museum where Lucy is held. It's literally like 5 little bone fragments in a glass case, like, and that's their evolution. That's their evolution proof. And it kind of aggravates me because it's like, well, who's to say that wasn't just a deformed ape? You know, I think I had discussed this on one of the Mirror D80s episodes. It might have been the first one. We discussed it, like my thoughts on evolution and stuff. And I kind of made the same point of like, who's to say it wasn't just a deformed ape, you know? Go check those episodes out. There's a playlist on YouTube. I'll try to link it below on Spotify. So, to glean insight into the evolution of our optic nerve, so this sea-dwelling maggot from 575 million years ago. By the way, another thing too. How do they know it's from 575 million years ago? People will say carbon dating. It's kind of been talked about it a lot, that carbon dating is not super precise. There's actually some inaccuracies with it. It's not as accurate as people think. Like, it could be off by like 10,000 years and shit. You just have to look into it. Maybe one day we'll cover an episode on it. So it says this critter sported 2 lateral eyes for navigation along with a third lens atop its noggin for monitoring light levels and staying oriented. This design lasted until about 500 million years ago, when they started burrowing into the sediment, which meant they no longer needed their side eyes to navigate. So burrowing into the ground, and then they just needed the third eye. That's interesting. In accordance, our subterranean forebears ditched their lateral peepers to conserve resources, effectively leaving them with the third receptor that allowed them to discern up from down and day from night. This cyclops-like configuration distinguished vertebrates from other lineages, which retained their lateral retinas. What's to account for the forward-facing lenses we have today? Eventually, some of the ancestors left the underground and returned to the sea as filter feeders, necessitating tools for navigation. In other words, we needed our eyes back. So I was listening to, and you can judge me, I don't mind. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and the only reason I tuned in was because it had Harlan Williams on there. I love Harlan Williams, and it's not just because he's a Williams, like me, but he's genuinely fucking funny. I love his style of humor. I love his sense of humor. So he was on Rogan the other day, and they were having this debate about, are you team people or team animal? I think Harlan Williams was probably trolling, but he was saying that he was team animal, and Rogan was like, no, dude, I'm team people, like, team people to the day I die, like, fuck team animal, you know? And I kind of was agreeing with that, Rogan. Well, obviously not kind of, I was agreeing with him on that, but they were talking about, like, Harlan was saying that wolves are not as violent as people make them out to be. And Rogan was like, yeah, they are. They're fucking evil as hell. Like, where do you think all the werewolf legends came from? And, like, there have been, like, throughout history, tons of different stories of and historical accounts of, like, werewolves. Well, not werewolves, but, like, wild wolves. You know, like the big bad wolf and, like, all these urban legends and legends in general. Like, there have been accounts of, like, these motherfuckers are evil as fuck. But he was talking about, he eventually got into, like, Harlan was like, well, I feel like humans are more predatory and evil than the animal species. Like, when we go into the woods, we're one of the few species. So I kind of see both sides, man. Go watch the debate. It was pretty good. But Harlan was saying, like, I kind of understand the concept of, like, we're like one of the few species, but when we go into the woods, every animal runs away from us. But if we weren't there, and we've set up secret cameras like Discovery Channel or Animal Planet and shit like that, the animals, a lot of them get along great, you know? And then Joe Rogan got into the concept that predatory animals have eyes straight forward. Deer, who are prey, have their eyes on the side of their head because they're always looking out for predatory animals. But predators focus in with eyes on the front of their head. So how does that tie in with this? I don't know. Maybe a little bit, you know, as far as, like, the little sea maggot that this guy's getting into, this scientist who says he discovered the third eye. Left with no other recourse, parts of the third eye evolved and migrated to the sides of the head, eventually developing into retinas. However, the third eye remained like an evolutionary straggler. That reminds me of, honestly, like the appendix or the pancreas. I think it's the pancreas and the appendix. I think they have said, like, it could be one or the other, but gallbladder, I think, is one of those organs. There's, like, multiple organs that humans have that we needed in ancient times when we were, like, Neanderthal or just ancients, and we don't need them anymore. This is why I kind of believe in, like, small term evolution. You know, like wisdom teeth, supposedly we needed those back in the day. That's leftover shit from, like, the Neanderthal. I truly believe that we were altered thousands of years ago. I believe, like, the Sumerian text, the Anunnaki, they altered humankind. Now, some people say, well, that's the fallen angels. And it's like, okay, we're talking about the same thing. You're just calling them something different. Like, your Jehovah to me is a lowercase God. Your Yahweh or whatever, he was probably one of the members of the Anunnaki. A lot of people believe it was Enki. you know? Just saying. We're both telling the same story. It's just you want to tell it in a Christianized way, and I want to tell it the original way that it was meant to be told before the Christians and the Jews stole the original text and altered it. You know? Coincidentally, but what I was saying is I believe we were altered, man. So, like, hence why we don't need wisdom teeth anymore. Hence why we're still confused on what the point is the appendix, what's the point of the pancreas or the gallbladder. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's like multiple organs where we're just kind of like, yeah, we don't need this. Tonsils, you can get that shit removed, you know. I have tonsil stones and suffer with tonsil stones, and it's like I've thought about it. Like, man, I don't know. Should I get my tonsils removed? You know? Coincidentally, the study didn't need to conduct an eye test to shed light on our ocular evolution. They simply reviewed existing scholarship and genetic data from animals such as fish and lampreys. I have no clue what a lamprey is. To determine how the sight organs function in our relatives. Coincidentally, not all critters' third eyes are hidden from view. The Tutara, a bizarre lizard-like creature from New Zealand, has a sophisticated middle orb situated promptly atop of its head, like some hybrid monster from Greek mythology. Well, that doesn't sound too far-fetched when you look at the ancient myths and the ancient tales that the gods were fucking around. You know, you guys know, man, anyone who's been a long time listener of this channel, I believe, once again, that the lowercase gods, you can call them aliens, you can call them fallen angels, you can call them jinn, fae folk. I believe we're all talking about the same things, man. Archons, interdimensional beings. I've noticed this from reading whatever word you like to use. Okay, cool. Good for you. And people hate to hear it, but like we're all talking about the same shit. I've read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read the Sumerian text. I've read Greek mythology. I've read Japanese mythology. I've read ancient texts from all over the world. And one thing that I've noticed is they're all talking about the same fucking shit. Something from not here came in and altered humankind. But they were also doing genetic experiments and or making love, whatever you want to call it, with animals, making chimeras. I mean, like, you get the story of Bellerophon and Chimera. It was literally a lion with a snake tail with a goat head on its back, almost like they were amputating animals and sewing, you know, minotaurs, centaurs, even the Fae, man. They say, like, the Fae, you know, were fallen angels who didn't side with Lucifer or Yahweh. So they didn't completely fall, like, into hell. They landed in, like, some basically on Earth in, like, an interdimensional realm, like a third realm, you know, like a different realm. That's why they don't look like angels or demons, you know, that they just became like gnomes and elves, and I don't know. I believe in all this shit. I ain't gonna lie. I just think that, like, a lot of these stories and ancient tales, like, we didn't have the proper words to describe it, so we were describing it very primitively. So much like with humans, this eye is not used for sight, but rather to detect changes between light and dark, and use this info to regulate its circadian clock, which is how we, you know, regulate sleep, awakeness, melatonin, serotonin, all that jazz. But yeah, I wanted to see what you guys thought about scientists have discovered the third eye. I seen it on someone's TikTok on a YouTube video of one of these guys. I can't remember which one. Like I'm watching one right now. His name is Bryce is Right. I watch a bunch of them. I watch Mod Tricka, a bunch of different dudes. But I like watching them because they will watch TikToks and then like I'm like, ooh, that's like, it'll be a short little TikTok, and I'm like, that'd be a good subject to talk about. And then I just do commentary and talk about it. And this was one that recently popped up in my feed, was scientists discovering the third eye. Wanted to see what you guys thought about it. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and y'all have a good day.